Okay, so today I continue in theme with my last title, which has been kind of confusing because I've been using like the current title that I'm using for this stream is actually the last episode that I uploaded from last week on YouTube of chess. But whatever, like the joke I made in Dark Souls or whatever, where it's like we're off the deep end of insanity, like you're on the scale and you've reached the fully insane part, and then you go over it into Nicolas Cage territory. So like where we're fighting that invisible boss Ava. Am I getting through to you, Ava? Like he says, or am I getting through to you, Alva, in whatever Vampire's Kiss? And so then this one's inspired by some other movie, I forget the name of it, where he's like, no man has spilled more blood in God's name than I. A benevolent God would not ask such things of men. So this is like, no one has blundered more pieces in meritocracy's name than I. A benevolent, whatever, game would not ask such things of its players. Let's keep going with the Star Wars peace set, as you can clearly tell that meritocracy is my #1 goal. I had a lot of other ones, but now either they don't work or I can't seem to find them, so I've only been using this one, kind of. Alright. The pin is one of my big weaknesses. Whether it's that big of a deal or not, it doesn't seem like, but even this is confusing. Like, you go here, if he goes here, I take... I don't know. You can easily escape with that. It's just like... It's amazing how long you can play and still not be familiar with openings, but that's a real objective thing that nobody can be familiar with, because the way the openings work is objectively not, you know, it's not something that anybody can understand, right? The best players of the past didn't know how openings worked by the way that people know them now, because it's all been reduced to engine lines and stuff like that, and that's fine, that's to be expected, but I just don't like how people treat it like it's something else. If you go here, I would take, he would take, I would take, he can't even take. Maybe that was all part of his plan, but that's always like a sneaky move that takes away their castle, that maybe he wasn't expecting that. And this is kind of only my second or third episode returning to chess, in the sense that, you know, I was playing on, like, for the last year I didn't play on chess at all. So I played on chess.com with my return to that, and then I didn't, maybe not a year, but whatever, a while. Like June I came back, or July I came back to chess.com. Then after that I did the chess video game anthology series, where I played like in Gary's Mod and Roblox and all these kind of other weird games, and then chess ! But now you can see how far my rating has fallen off, which really has nothing to do with that. Just chess is a very hard game unless you play it like a lot, which is not really an excuse or anything. It's just, it's hard for me to get immersed in it, but that's also not accurate to say, because what it means is that you could just as easily say, okay, we fucked up there. You could just as easily say that every game in and of itself is easier to get immersed in, because it's like you play the one game like it's the only game that matters and that's it. And so then you don't have to worry about, you know, play each game with your full effort. So it could be a 10-minute game, it could be a 1-minute game, whatever. So this is a dangerous spot for that to be in, but it might be okay. Like, what is his next thing? I don't get it. He goes like this. Okay. See, that one little thing fucks up your whole position, because it's not even like, oh no, I can't recover from the lost pawn. It's just, it's still okay though, I think. Because if, well, he can take, I can take, he can take, I can still take, so it's not that big of a deal. If he takes, I take, or I could do it like this even. But still not that bad of a position, but materially I just gave up the rook 2 for nothing. Somehow I thought that would help me with the rest of the position, but it didn't. This is also like my Skyrim hangover stream. Not that it's that big of a deal, but like yesterday is my yearly Christmas tradition of playing Skyrim on Christmas and Christmas only. For whatever reason, I just always do that. So that was at least one of my longest streams in a while. Like, I can still easily beat this guy, but it makes you wonder, why do I keep ending up in these situations? I don't get it. You could do that, but is that all part of his master plan? I don't know. Because you can't do anything there. You can't take that. I'm threatening that. I'm double threatening that into a check, which doesn't actually do a whole lot. He covers that back, which is okay. He's got to watch some sort of cheeky threat he's going to do here, which I don't see exactly what it is. I'm going for too obvious of a threat, but this is the sort of mediocrity that you can get yourself caught in, though. It's like you always underestimate. This is a big problem I have. It's not even that I think I'm so good. It's that I think everyone's so bad, which they technically are. But it's like you always underestimate them, so you never actually reach your full potential in any of these games. Even when you win, you get away with playing badly. When you lose, you get punished for playing badly. But the one constant is you're always playing badly. If I could disrupt these pawns somehow, that would be good, but I don't know how to do it. You can go like here. It's not like the knight was doing anything anyway. But that would be a nice optimal octopus knight. I don't know what that was. Oh, so by trying to over aggressively attack that, I fuck up some other way. I don't know, dude. I definitely would not be in the mood to play classical games, though. So here you can go like this, and then you'd be fine, because he could just... Whichever one you go to, I could just take. If he goes there, I take. If he goes there, I could take. That obviously benefits him being up +5. It would take something crazy now. The Octopus Knight itself is supposed to be worth like 8 points, though, so maybe that is enough. Or it's like these mistakes have a way of compounding themselves in the sense that, you know, none of this was really necessary to do. If I go here, he goes there, I go there, but it's not gonna even work. This is at least a good little Octopus Knight. I don't know what to do with the Darksphere Bishop, though, per se. If he moves that pawn, then I guess I can take that double take. All he would have to do is blunder one piece, right? That would be good enough for me. If he takes, I take. Take, fine. This one pawn is kind of an odd one out. And the bishop doesn't have the greatest mobility, so it's always confusing what to do with it in a situation like this. But I guess a good player wouldn't have allowed the situation to occur, so they would have already been in something better of a position. But then again, you look at so many high-level games and they turn into something crazy. Like, it is like a really weird, busted position, but it somehow still doesn't matter. Like, I don't know. Like, even this is great because you're blocking the thing, but then you're going to open this. Right, so normally that would be good because you're using a, even though it's not like a super central file, you're blocking an open file with a knight in such a way that I don't know, it can be very valuable. If you do this now, then maybe we're in good shape, because even if you do that, you would take, I would take, you would take, I would take, you would take, and I'd have to somehow maneuver the king there, which I don't even know how to do. If I maybe do this, then that would be even extra covered. Look at this god tier defensive endgame that we're going to play, even though I don't deserve. You got to do it when it really counts earlier. Or this whole, you know, the whole chess experience has reminded me of that discussion I had with respect to like turn-based games. The same way that I criticize the Diablo genre of games, I could also criticize turn-based games. Like, the only reason why turn-based games existed is because they were like, they were somehow easier to do, right? Mechanically, there was no advantage otherwise, even though I love some of them like Paper Mario and Final Fantasy games, right? So I can look past my own bias to see that objectively they only existed because it was easier to do that, to choose options from a menu and watch an animation or something than to actually do real-time action and animations back in the day, you know, in the infancy of gaming. And so the point is that that could be seen as objectively flawed, where like there's no need for it. There's the same thing with chess. Like, the only reason why it's there is like this game theory sense that, oh, it keeps everything even and equal and fair because somehow, you know, it comes down to the decision making, not so much the speed or the real-time element. So anybody can play it, and it's just a matter of how quickly you think rather than how quickly you move or do something. So everything makes it feel like it's equal and fair in that sense, even though it's not still, because whoever goes first has a tremendous advantage. But it's the fact that, you know, other than that, it's just like almost a design shortcut that it's just easier to make a game like that is probably the real reason why they existed, not because of any preferential development thing. So what is he doing? He could go there and I would have no way of actually protecting it. But I could just take it, I guess. So that's there. That one seems pretty much impossible to cover. But he's going to end up trapping his dumb horse because that's just the nature of the piece. Fuck. It would actually have been so close to it. He could go here and then... Just a waste of time. So he would take that and check those still. And then he's going to get some stupid fork or something. If you go there, I go there, but then you can still escape because... Or can you? You go there, I could take. You go back, I could take. You go there, I could take. No, actually, that might be it if you just move on. You go there, I could take. Okay, fine. So that equalizes it a little bit, but it's not... What the fuck? That's what really equalizes it. This is what I mean. Just let your opponent defeat themselves, even though it doesn't feel good at all. Now we're still not in a... Well, now we are in a great spot, but... You just have to concentrate and not fuck anything up too easy here, which... That's so sad, bro. That's so sad. Imagine this could be his first game ever on the site, too. I'm going to make him delete his account and quit the game. But this is how I lose the majority of my games, too, is just... incredibly stupidly. He's going to check, like, from there, but he can't even do it. I've been very confused in this game, like, how to use the bishop. I have no idea what I'm doing with that. You go here, he could take, I could take, connect the pawns. If he doesn't take, then that's fine too. There's nothing really too compelling he can do with this. That's fine. It looks like, oh, haha, I'm going to trap the thing, which you really can't. Trying to see what his other plays are beyond that, though. Like, if he goes here, this can be very dangerous in the opposite way. Like, if you go here, then if you move that, it could put the thing under risk, or, I don't know, somehow that stacking your pieces like that can be bad. I don't know. This is getting a little bit annoying. You can't really give it check, so that's one good thing about this. We can kind of actually use the king a bit aggressively. We can go here. His king can't really come through, so unless he takes one of these pawns. I should be able to take this now, though, because he has to give up the attack on the bishop. Or I guess he doesn't really. He could go there, but then I could go there, but then he could go there. So that was actually a really good move. Right, because if I don't, then I'm going to lose that anyway. We're +2, so I can't afford to lose the bishop. Although that pawn could be very dangerous too. There's no like great follow-up play if I was to take that pawn. That's the problem. I might not be able to stop this, dude. Here, I'll threaten a check at least, so he can do something there. But he'll take, then I'll take and check. And then figure something out. But I'm very scared of that. That could actually turn into a big problem. It really shouldn't, though, because I have a pass pawn too, but I'm not going to use mine especially well, I bet. And his king kind of can cross now, so it's amazing how we blunder and blunder back. This is actually perfect, though, because what he's done now is he's allowed me to cover that square. So now I don't have to worry about it at all. I could just sack the bishop for it, and I'm fine. It's one of those situations like where you can't lose, even if you're as big a clown as me. This is what I love. Like, never resign, they say. But it's only because they fuck up even bigger than you, not because you actually do anything impressive. You could check. I am low on time as usual. Like look at who this guy is. It's just a guy playing his first game of chess probably ever, and he's not good at all, but somehow this is what happens. I want to put it somewhere where I don't have to constantly keep babysitting it and covering it, but I don't know. Recovering that, we could try to push it all the way. This allows the king to maybe go in a bit too much, which I'm still going to allow for some reason. If you check there, you would arguably be able to take. There's a question of trying to promote the pawn, but I only have so much time to do it. And yeah, this is where a turn-based game becomes a real-time game as the equalizing factor, because all things equal, if you were to just, or now it's to draw no matter what, if you were to whatever. So stupid. Like, I don't deserve the win there because, I mean, I kind of started off really shitty, but I somehow had a chance to still win, which was impressive. Like, we sort of started off as I typically do in a lot of these games, and yeah, like, that's a perfect example of what chess is like. Like, neither player deserves to win, and both people just waste their time and their life, and so that's why you deserve to get a draw for even bothering to play this game in the first place. To be like an alligator tooth analysis, but it's kind of more just what would you call it, like whatever, just one extreme to the other, seesaw type of fucking analysis. Makes no sense what happened there, but it's okay. 10 of pawn stuff's actually not that bad because you padded in the endgame or something. This is what ends up happening. Running out of music even in some of my playlists. Like, I have to do some variety, although I didn't use these for a super long time. These 1338, very fair matchup. I'd like to just get to 1500, but I barely will even have time to do that, because it's just like whatever. Even if I win every game, it'll take a while, but at least that's the first condition. I already failed doing that, as I consider a draw to be worse than a defeat. It's like some sort of moral victory for them, that they just succeeded in wasting your time. Like, this is always kind of a cute move, but it doesn't actually do anything. I love how many mistakes people make in openings just to sort of, you know, they think they know what they're doing and they kind of do it too fast and they're not really thinking, or their opponent does like one thing that's different and it kind of fucks with their whole thing. So he goes there, he pins it down, we go like this. I could have took, but it's not worth it to take unless you double take, even though it does double stack the pawn, or I guess it doesn't guarantee that, but even if it does, there's so many times where I think double stacking the pawn is going to be good for me, but it's actually not. Like, I don't know. You know, I'll go for this super long-winded thing to try to double take on there. So if he takes, that's fine. I take back. So now what we can do is we can go here, and then we can raise the other thing. Like, whatever, raise the pawn, one of the only aggressive moves I typically make. This wasn't really the version I even wanted. This game had such amazing music. Okay, we take. That doesn't seem like a bad spot to put his pawn because I can easily just play around it. Right, like I can't decide whether that's a good move or not. Most of the trades that I do, though, are not good moves. it fucks up my ability to do that, I guess, but I'll still do it. And see, it's like he's so confident and happy that I did it. Like he just knew that was going to happen. If you raise it here, I could easily take it. And if you don't, then I could do this, but I almost don't like this little jagged structure. Or he's just letting me take it, I guess, because... Or I guess not. Like, because that would theoretically work, but then you can en-pizan it away. So now you can't block this with the thing. You can't block it with the bishop or I just take, but you can easily just move the rook. And then we can back this off. Like, I don't really know where this is going. I have this weird, like, patience and impatience both in chess somehow. Like, I like the longer time formats, but I also dislike certain other elements. Like, I just always trade like a fiend, and I get kind of annoyed by the game sometimes. By how long it goes on or something. Yeah, that's not really that big of a deal either. Like, it is an octopus knight right in the king's face, so I guess you shouldn't say that's not a big deal, but it always feels so easy to trade out for it. But I guess the trade-off here is at least that pawn would be very strong, right? So if you were able to... That could be a very dangerous pawn for sure. You don't really even want to do that trade per se, but I could at least position it in such a way that maybe I could try to double take on it. Like if I put this here and then... You know, you go here, I could take. You go there, I could take. So now what ends up happening is you could easily double take. And maybe I shouldn't have ignored entirely what he's doing, but that was still kind of worth it because we clean up that spot. Yeah, like that was kind of a boneheaded move on my part. He could have easily just took that. So the queen is attacking there, but I don't see still what the big deal is. My queen is fine. His queen is fine. If he takes, takes. Or you could do a little cheeky play here. If he takes, then I take, but then he can't take, but then he can take because that's not actually there. Because my own pawn is blocking it. Oof. There was some alternate path of that before that I just saw, but I don't know what he's exactly doing. If you go there, it doesn't bother me. You block your own diagonal. You take there, it also doesn't really bother me. Just keep the rooks connected so you don't get accidentally caught out somehow and get checked and they take it. That's one of the big things that can go wrong in this sort of situation that I clearly know from experience. If you double attack this one, it could be a problem, but I don't see how exactly you're going to do that. Wait, what? Okay, dude. I'll still win somehow, like the last game, or I'll still draw it. So stupid. Whatever. This is like I'm playing like way too fast. Which was never really my specialty, no matter how I played or whatever I did. One thing I've always been consistent is always been slow. And I've been white in every game. It's like the game is trying to give me, the site is trying to give me a handicap. Objective advantage in a one-set match, which is objectively unfair. Like whoever goes white in this random matchup of a single game has like an unfair advantage basically, because in any other normal context you would have to play, you know, like a set of 3 games, best of 3 or something, where you both get a chance, or best of 12, the way that you do in like a world championship. That one was very disappointing for sure.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds.
This game was like atmosphere porn in the sense that you get like all these, you get the cabin in the woods at night, whatever. That's like a nice atmospheric area. Then you get the cemeteries like that, the Conwell Woods is like that. They're just like these very atmospheric, beautiful locations where you get this nice ambient music in the background. There's not a lot to really do in them, but I'm the type who's uses that as a way to do like a little pre-trial review type of thing or something, investigation review, go over the facts of the case and stuff. So that's kind of a nice thing that the game does that almost a little bit knowingly somehow, that it wants to give you areas to do stuff like that. There's nothing going on with that. You could have gone here, waste of time. I wouldn't even say like, oh, I've lost my touch at it or anything. It's just more like I've become even lazier and more impatient than usual, which that shouldn't still be a factor if you actually know what you're doing. You could be as lazy as you want, but if you have studied the game for a time, you can get away with it to an extent. This is still the same entry level type of opponents that, you know, I could beat when I had never played the game at all. Like, kind of. I mean, it's obviously changed over time, but like, you know, people on average have gotten a lot better, but then again, they haven't, because just theory has improved and people take it more seriously, or they study more, or whatever. The net sum of collective knowledge is greater. But the whole idea is the fact that basically it's the same thing like with athletes. People always say, oh, athletes today are so much better than athletes of the past. But have human beings really evolved or changed that much, or has their technology and resources improved? And so what that means is not only are people not better, they're arguably actually worse, because they did more with less back then, that it's even a comparison. So imagine if you gave those same people, like Oscar Robertson or Wilt Chamberlain or whoever, imagine if you gave them the modern advantages and technology that people have had today to make them the way they are: better nutrition, better workout regimens, gyms, more money, resources, better shoes, better equipment, better training regimens, health protocol, improvement, whatever, improvement in the medical field, all these kind of things. Imagine if you gave them all those advantages and then you made the comparison. It would make it kind of moot, because that's the whole point, is just you don't get to have it only one way. Like, let's time travel one way, but then we get to ignore it the other way. Like, you know, how is that fair? Like 50 years from now, you could compare and say, oh, everybody used to suck 50 years ago, but it's not that people change, it's that technology changes, or information, resources, knowledge, understanding, whatever, things that you would have available on average too. I mean, people could always say, well, this one guy was so rich, so he managed to have those resources anyway. But so this is kind of cute, I guess, but you would need almost like another cover, because you would have theoretically had a fork, so you have to take with this, and then you could back off. If you take, I can simply take, so that's not a very threatening play. At least opening the king makes me feel a little bit better. Although I don't know exactly what to do with this. If I can just get the queen there, that's almost what I want to do. Maybe a bit of a brazen move that I don't need to make, but let's just go for it. Now the problem is you can't even, you can't really even do anything with that for now. That's one of the biggest lessons you should learn in chess. Not that you should be learning it from me. Is like you shouldn't look for instant gratification, which is why I have a hard time believing that all these Zoomer kids or just kids in general are so patient and, you know, disciplined as to be able to do that. It's not even a question of ability, like, oh, this kid's so smart that he's good at chess. It's that how could you be so patient, and how could you be so, you know, just measured that you could go through these long, exhaustive, almost boring sequences of moves. It seems like a bit too much. Where like even I guess age doesn't have as much to do with it as you might think, but it's almost, at some point it's just not fun. Like, it's too much. Take would be cute. Even if you do something about it, I could probably do something too. If he takes. If he doesn't, I can still take. This is the kind of victory that you really need here. Just like an easy, quick one. That's pinned down, so you can try to push it. He's obviously not going to let me do it, but there's a possibility of trapping the bishop here, I guess. You know what, let's actually just keep advancing that and see what happens. Even if we don't get the benefit of the attack on the rook. You can't take this, you can't do anything. You can try to keep encroaching upon him with the thing. with the rook. If you open that file, that could be very strong. You know, I'll even fuck up at this point somehow. I can't even do that. So what is his thought? He's going to try to open something going that way. Viking is pretty wide open too, but that's the whole double-edged sword, is that sometimes you have to do that. Otherwise, you can't do anything. Okay, it's not a big deal. You can easily get out of there. If you go here, I can easily just take. Just don't blunder the queen. Actually take your time. But that's what I always rely on. Like, I got to get a lead early, and then I can just kind of coast. If I actually have to concentrate the whole game, then I get sick of it somehow. Even though that's part of the fun, it's just like... I don't know. I feel like I've played long enough over the course of time that... It's not even that I should be better. It's that I should be somehow... It's like you got to play for something. That's why I do the permanent challenges and stuff. Not that that improved my performance much, but at least I would always get close to completing it and then fail. It's not like I would, you know, I'd set a challenge for get to 1,000 and I would get to 950. Then I set a challenge for get to 1,200. Then I got to 1,150. Then I set a challenge for get to 15 and I got to 1,350. It's like I was always making progress by doing that. So it's almost like a psychological trick that you're trying to trick yourself into valuing it. It doesn't really matter. There is no real challenge. It's just a game. You're just kind of fucking around. But because I put those permanent things and I have to delete my account if I fail and all this kind of stuff and lose a year's worth of subscription on chess.com, like lose $100 worth or whatever the fuck, you know, all that kind of stuff, because I put like a real stake on it, then it is guaranteed probably to improve your performance. Kind of a confusing thing. I don't know. You're trying to get the knight in there, but I don't know exactly where to put it. That's one of those just desperate flailing moves with the knight. Like, I don't really know what I'm doing with it or what I'm trying to do. I block my own double stack, as the knight tends to just always be a nuisance and get in the way. But you find a way to... And so many of these ratings are too similar. Like from 1,000 to 1,600 is like the same thing, basically, kind of, because it's just so arbitrary. Everybody kind of sucks and nobody knows what they're doing, so it's almost just a waste of time to... There's no way that you should be able to cover both. In fact, that's almost in a very bad spot. Now you get to kind of do a pseudo fork on there. Yeah, give me 6 rating for this one, so I get 1,337, even though it'll give me probably a lot more than that. I think that's the one thing that cast or chess players don't really appreciate, which is a fair thing. Like, anything good is going to take time, but it's the fact that chess takes such an insane amount of time. No, even in the best case scenario, like, oh yeah, I studied for 20 years and I became a GM or whatever. Like, even if that's the best case, it's just most people aren't going to want to do that, so it doesn't matter. I don't know. See, here's where I get completely aimless. If you do this, then he can take this, but he can't. If you move it, it's fine. If you take it, it's fine. Take. He still has a pretty good assemblage of pieces here, though, I must say. Like, just the way... Oh, wait, what? Yeah, now his assemblage is looking even a little better. I don't know what I did. Why did I think... Whatever, I'm still up by a decent amount. He checks there, not really a big deal. You could do like a little cheeky thing there. If you get on the light square. His other rook is kind of out of position, though. That's the problem, right? That's a very defensive-minded, weird rook. If you check here, you should be able to do something with it. He comes out. I check again, but I can't. You could check here. You could take the thing. The, whatever. The pawn. That's covered way too much, so there's no point in even doing it. We're in a good spot. It just takes a little bit of time to get there. If you go here, then you go there, then it's mate. But he's not going to allow such a thing surely. Although it looks like such an innocuous move. Like, what is that really going to do? You're just going to keep giving checks on the back rank? He's going to go there. Well, now you should just be able to take this, actually. It's hard to know when you should just start giving up and sacking your own pieces. That's such a bad tendency that people encourage with this whole content creator, streamer type of thing. Like, oh, haha, he sacks this, he sacks the rook. Like, I get it that it can be good, but as a general standard, you shouldn't really play like that. Right? You shouldn't look for sacks, or I don't know how to really articulate that. Like, somehow you just shouldn't look for them at all because you're not good enough to see that, but sometimes you will. It's hard to know. You should look for the best move, not the best sack or something like that. I don't know. This will at least pull it to be where you're about to try to promote that, which isn't really what this game should come down to, but being like +7, +8 earlier, which I guess now I'm +6 again, but so. This is kind of cute. If you take, I take. Otherwise, I'm threatening that, so you have to move it. And then, I don't know. I could even do this, because then if you take, then I still take, but then you still take. So ordinarily, I guess I could do that, but you could do like this, so you can just try to take the rook if he moves it. Or now you can double take, though. You can double take. You could have took, but then I could have took. Wait, wouldn't that have been fine for him, actually? Who knows? Yeah, let's see what rank I am actually on here. I'm like 200,000 something probably in Rapid versus whatever I am in Classical, which is a lot better. Or it wouldn't even show up now. Oh, look at that, 95%. I mean, a lot of that's deceptive and relative, but I also don't like that being used as a disqualifying factor. Because also when I get 40% accuracy or 1,000 cent pos, like I'm playing like garbage, that's also relative. I'm playing against bad opponents. So like, what does it mean? Or the same level of opponents. So the same people who destroy me are the same people that I destroy and do that. So it's only fair that it should matter. Like, how else do you measure it? Like, oh, it doesn't matter because you have to play against a 2,000 rated player to do it for it to count. But you're also not a 2,000 rated player, so exactly the kind of technological advancement, am I right, that I was just talking about with the sports discussion. There's so many fallacies with that. How people say, oh, you know, how good would this guy be from the past or something like that. Or even with chess, people say that. Like, unless you believe that people just magically got smarter in the last couple hundred years, like, wow, everybody's just a genius, which is maybe partly true because, oh, improved living conditions or nutrition or technology or something. But the technology is a key point. Active in 27 seconds. What the fuck does that mean, dude? Actual time traveler here. December 26th. I'm amazed how good the chess category actually does, though. Like, yesterday it was pretty bustling. Today it's pretty bustling. Like, it's fucking Christmas, dude. Who wants to watch somebody play chess on Christmas Day or after? Says the guy who's streaming it, obviously, but that's what I mean. Like, so we drew that one, we lost that, and we won that. All three of these games were total clown shows that it almost just doesn't even make sense to me, but this is the way that my chess experience goes. Oh, whoops. 1320. Yeah, can we at least get to like 1350? Not that it matters. It's amazing how much of a difference these websites make, too. Like, you know, and I thought my inflation was bad with the US dollar. But wait until you see the chess compared to chess.com or compared to FIDE or whatever. I must say that at least at the lower ranks like that, I can't imagine a 1300 FIDE player being much better than a 1300 on chess.com. Not because, oh, it's so impressive, but because if you were actually that good or good at all, you probably wouldn't be 1300. That's my only point. Like, who is going to chess events in person and doing that? Like, I'm going to try to, you know, fight my butt off to be a 1350 player. Like, why does it matter? Says the guy who's done that on these sites even. Okay, we push this, push it back, do this. Now, the problem is this move is kind of dumb because you have to, you know, like, if you do that, then you do that, and it creates like a whole kind of ugly thing. Mr. Traceless, I kind of like that name. If you go here, I can just go there. I got to bring out the bishop somehow, though. This is good, or this is actually better. You know, I could do the same little thing where I steal Yoda's castle away. So that's kind of why that's a good reactive move. This move kind of bothers me though still. Like, what if he does it? What do I do? I probably just have to, or I could just take it now, but you could pin that down. I don't have a great way to really double attack it though. I would take, he would take, and that seems like a very ugly, awkward spot for his pawns to actually be in, so I'm fine with that. And apparently so is he. He's got to not move too fast, right? You got to have that little apprehension and doubt that I have, like in real life even. Like a good psychological thing. Like, you should always doubt yourself. Like, I had this expression, like, in the debate format or whatever that I did. It was like, you know, okay, I trust you, but who needs trust when you could, like, who wants to rely on trust when you could rely on certainty instead? Or like, who wants to believe something when you could know it instead? Like, in other words, you might trust somebody, but why rely on that, right? Something could go wrong. Why not just say, okay, I do trust you, but I still want to double check. I want to verify it and be sure. Rather than believe in what you're saying, I'd rather know what is actually the case. So it's the same thing, like, you should always second guess even yourself. I think I know what I'm doing, I think I have a good move, but just always be skeptical. And in this case, it's a good, healthy form of skepticism because you honestly don't know what the fuck you're doing and you suck. But again, it's just more a matter of attrition. Like, can you get away with that because you're so bad, or because your opponents are so bad too? So this is pretty much open for the taking, if I'm not mistaken. I'm always shocked when people make a mistake too, because it feels like, how could they possibly? They're always way too good, so it's literally impossible for anybody to make a mistake ever at this rating. I feel like I'm missing something, or obviously I'm missing that. Nice. But see, he should be thinking the same thing. How could I possibly make a mistake? So somehow something good will come of it. I don't know. So dumb, man. I guess you can't blame it if I blunder the knight, though, because that's always a piece I have such disregard for anyway. It's at least a good diagonal that he hasn't done a whole lot to stop from being effective. He might just not be able to castle, or a lot of people seem pretty content with not castling. Whether that's just because they're playing against me, because I'm so defensive that I don't really make them feel under threat. I feel like everybody always has a response to my style of play. They could be playing me for the first time ever, like just some random person, but they know, they can somehow get the sense that I'm just not gonna attack them. Regardless of the level that you're playing at or anything else. You have this diagonal here, but you're not doing anything with it, so I have to wonder what the point of that is. You're double attacking there. You just need like another something here. If I could get this to attack the thing, that would be nice. Like the knight. Then I would take, he would take, I would mate, assuming the queen's out there. Or that's like a bad form of calculation. It's like wishful thinking. Don't say what you want to happen, say what actually is happening or what's going to happen. But then again, you would have no idea what your opponent's going to do, which even a lot better players don't really know what the opponents at this level are going to do, because they're so whether they're good or bad, they're just unpredictable a lot of the time, and they'll accidentally do like a great or brilliant move, just not because they know that. They'll just completely, you know, this happened with me so many times. I make a brilliant move and I don't even know why it's brilliant, and I don't even take advantage of what you're supposed to do to make it that way, right? Like, I'll just sack a piece, but I'll actually just sack it or just lose it because, oh, I thought it was covered, not because I was actually meant to. Yeah, that's the real piece I should have. Like the Jar Jar Binks fucking piece set here. He should be my king and I should be playing as the Gungans or whatever, because he always wins by like accident almost, right? They play it for like comic relief, which was kind of really stupid the way they used that character and everybody hated him, but still, it's like, it's just by sheer accident almost. You just gave up your best threat on that diagonal. Although I guess you took a decent threat for me too, so now you can find a castle. Can't move that, and this is in an awkward spot. I'm not in too bad of a position, but I just gave up that knight obviously for nothing. You know, I shouldn't do it. Actually, this time I'll take my own advice for once. I actually won't do it. You got this nice little double stack pinning down. So basically, if he moves the bishop, I made him. If he doesn't, then he can't castle. Even if he does, then I could take the knight. Even if he somehow protects the king and the bishop, I could still take the knight. Create this nice little anchor pawn situation. Seems like he's even more aimless than me, despite being up material. That's the one thing I like to see in opponents sometimes, is like that moment of shock or fear that you can just kind of sense. Like even these higher rated players that I sometimes would draw or sometimes beat, like at 1800 or 2000, it's like they're kind of like, what the fuck? They can just kind of sense that, like, wow, this guy's really not even good, but he's like doing something crazy. Right? You just think long and hard enough and you can come up with certain things. So here you have a nice little move to attack the queen, I guess. I just enjoy playing like on instinct so much. The problem is my instincts are not very finely tuned or honed, or I don't always use them exactly right. So something's always missing. And this is kind of annoying because it's just like a lot of back and forth. Now you technically can't take the thing. You can't take because you have the thing pinned down. I don't get what is even happening. Like, this is so dumb. Now, this doesn't matter because, well, at least we took away his castle. You would think that accounts for at least a +2, but I guess it depends so much on the position, right? Material doesn't matter at a higher level. Like, people will say, oh, you're -4, but you're about to mate them in 6 moves. So if you see that, then it doesn't matter. And it was all part of your master plan. Like, Bobby Fischer sacking, like, every piece on his fucking board just to do some crazy elaborate mate. It's like, it's cute when it works, but how do you know it's going to work? And I guess it is one of those forced unstoppable sequences where there was really nothing they could have done about it. But then they won't do something that stops it. They'll do something you don't expect, and then it'll still throw you off from what you thought you were trying to do. So to put it simply, you're not fucking Bobby Fischer. That's the problem with it. It doesn't mean it doesn't work, but you can't see everything like that. I don't know what's going on, dude. This guy's gonna just drag the game out forever. This is how, like, I play. Like, you'll be up material, although I guess it's not that much. But then you start to just fucking take forever. This guy better give me 9 rating, which you probably won't even. I just want to get to 1350 for some stupid reason. I can't seem to use the bishop at all. Like, it just doesn't exist in this game, so that's always fun. Almost feels like a horse in this situation. We'll turn it into an octopus bishop, I guess. Even though it really wouldn't be attacking 8 directions. Or I guess it's attacking more because it's hitting like way more squares, but this is an interesting spot because you really can't push it out with anything. At least we fucked up his castle a little bit. Well, that's a very interesting move because that's where I wanted to go anyway. What you can do here is you could take the queen, but I don't want to. Because I am down material, so to whatever extent it matters, this is fine. Oh, come on, bro. You don't really need the double diagonal. This is being attacked, but it doesn't matter. Like, what if I do this? Now, if you move it, I could take that, but it doesn't matter either. I'm going to end up somehow getting this trap, but it doesn't seem possible because you could always come back to here. You come like this, I can take it. His bishop has been even more useless than mine. This is a very strange game. It doesn't even look like... Okay, okay. Whatever. I keep just not paying attention to the queen at all. Yeah, how better players do that is beyond me. I guess because it's a faster time format, but still. Like, that should be way... Like, even when I do it, I can't believe it, but... Not even that I blunder the queen itself, but, like, that's what I mean. Even that would be so horrible. I don't know what he's doing though, man. He's more passive than I am. I can still draw it or win it somehow, but that's a good move because you're trying to do the trade, which makes perfect sense. Like, I got nothing left. Ever seen a queen beat a queen, rook, knight, and bishop all in one, dude? You go here, that's very dangerous, I guess. There's really nothing you can ever do about it. Oh my god. So I won't even blame the fact that I play for short periods of time or something, because it's more like, you know, every game is its own little thing. So if he does the en passant, I can still take, or maybe I couldn't have took. So he actually just missed the en passant overall, but you can still come there. I should just start to play like the faster time formats, because I'm playing it like that anyway, but then again I'm not, because I end up using so much time. But I'm just playing it so mindlessly and so fucking impatiently. He takes there, I can still take. The Empire lost to this. What the fuck, man? And there'd be like some sort of internal opposite interpretation with it. Like, you wouldn't really want to see, like, the further the king comes out, the worse it is, because for you, because you wouldn't want to see the fucking Emperor Yoda on the battlefield, because you get fucking destroyed. But this isn't Battlefront 2. If he takes, I take. We could get a stalemate out of it, or in fact that would have been literally a stalemate right there, and I don't think he would have seen it if I just had the pawns out of the way. All you have to do is go like there. You don't even need the other queen. But what I haven't done in a while is like a long session of chess either. I guess that's my reward for doing such long ones for a while. Like, I did a 14-hour episode, then I did a 10-hour, like all this crazy ones to try to do my chess.com challenge, but at some point it got to be too much, so I just said fuck it. Like, whatever. I mean, at least if I had succeeded at that, that would have been fine, which I did partially, but continues his race to overtake Wesley. So this whole thing is different too. This was never here before. 2023 World Rapid Championships have started. The reigning champion Magnus Carlsen tries to win the title for the 5th time, while GM Tan Zongyi wants to defend hers in the women's section. Successful month for women in chess. I am Carissa. Yep, yeah, she was like really young, right? She was somebody who was like an up-and-comer. GM Norm is the North American Junior Open. 8-year-old made history by winning the women's championship. Everybody always starts when they're a fucking kid, dude. Nobody... Even people use like Benjamin Feingold, but he got the GM title late, but he didn't start playing late. He still played when he was super young, and it just took him a while to somehow peak or get all his norms and stuff. People always said he begged for them too, but I don't know how accurate that is. He's like Joel Embiid crying for the MVP, so they feel bad and give it to him there apparently. Okay, see you tomorrow.